Yo, what's going on, baby? What's going on, chat? Hope you guys are doing good, man. Hope you're doing good. Hey, let's go. Yo, what's going on, Split Sniper? We got Tristan Garcia, Crystal Poindexter, Gary O in the house. Let's go. What are you all gonna talk about? Rhys has been knocking the interviews out. What will you get? Yeah, so I don't know. Rhys is gonna talk, and we're gonna probably get up to speed on this Marvel stuff. We're gonna get an update. I'm sure. I'm not really 100%, but Alex G's up there on the stage, so we're about to see you. Hope you guys are doing good tonight. I don't know what this music is, by the way. Let's do Honolulu. That's what this song's called. I like this one. I'm gonna also like flip my cam back, turn it off as they start. What's up, Mr. Coin? Long time no chat. I'm liking this music, it's chill. What are you looking forward to most when it comes to VeVe? Man, I'm looking forward to the VeVe-verse, baby. You already know. I'm also looking forward to those digital comics. Rhys is being omnipresent right now. He's up in the... He looks like he's up in the Telegram. And in Discord.
All right, fam, get started in a couple minutes. Just thought I'd give you a little warning. Hope my voice did not scare you.
I got them.
All right, everybody.
Tom Brady's baby.
Welcome back to another community AMA. I feel like it's been a couple of weeks for me, actually. I missed you guys last week, but thank you, Alex, for taking the reins and organising that Twitter Spaces AMA. How did all of that end up?
I think it went well. We had a whole new audience on from the Marvel tweets, and I think it was a nice change of pace having people be able to join and tweet at the same time. So I'd love to hear from the rest of the community today and how they thought it was, and if they'd like us to continue experimenting on that platform in the future.
Yeah, anyone on stage got any comments on that? I will bring some people up eventually. They can always share as well, but we'll cover a few things off first.
You said Twitter Spaces?
Yeah, were you part of that?
Yeah. I like Twitter Spaces. It's a good platform to get new eyeballs on the project, so I'm for it for sure.
Okay, sweet. And the format, it's kind of similar to what we're doing here, right? Like it's bring people up, ask questions.
Correct.
Yeah, it's totally the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sweet. I wonder.
Only difference is the emojis and stuff that you could put up, which are pretty funny. The crowd interacting.
Hey, Trevor, Alex, how's it going?
We can do that in Spaces. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good move. Yes. Welcome, Trevor, as well. Thank you for being here, good sir. We are amassing the team. I think Dan might drop in later. Just depends what he gets on top of ahead of the blind box drop. But we'll do a little whip around the community. Alex, did you have something you wanted to chat to people about before we got too far?
Nothing too big. I just wanted to share quickly that in case everybody's not aware, tomorrow's drop, 8 a.m. Pacific, first blind boxes. Really excited about it. And another little tidbit of information here, in case people aren't aware, that Friday the 13th is considered an unlucky day in Western superstition. It occurs when the 13th day of the month in the Gregorian calendar falls on a Friday, which happens at least once every year, but can occur up to 3 times in the same year. In most Western cultures, black cats have typically been looked upon as a symbol of evil omens, specifically being suspected of being familiars of witches, or actually shape-shifting witches themselves. Most of Europe considers the black cat a symbol of bad luck, particularly if one walks across the path in front of a person, which is believed to be an omen of misfortune and death. So it's a good thing we're not having a drop today. Thank you all for playing along.
So just to confirm, that was just so people know, that's why we didn't drop today.
I like how we've got 3 people from Ecomi, and then we've got 3 people from the FOMO squad as well.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so we're not
confirmation of a Jason NFT.
Yeah. Sounds that way. But blind boxes tomorrow. While you've mentioned them, we may as well cover that off. It's part of the weekly wrap, I suppose. Is there anything confusing about the blind boxes to anyone on the stage? Any regular community questions you've seen come in about them that we can cover off?
Well, I guess we could just start this off with the FUD that, there's always going to be some type of FUD, but, all the 5 first appearances, being these little mini guys, which I love the drop, by the way, but them being the first appearance kind of made some people upset.
You mean like the first appearance of Captain America? And
yeah, exactly.
Right. And there's an issue that they're all FA? I don't know if they are.
No, the issue that they're nice, cuddly, and cute,
Right. Instead of like the crazy mean Captain America looking. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Rhys, cute and cuddly is out. Edgy is in.
Edgy. Is that what we're going with? Great.
Don't get me wrong.
I hear hooves.
Everybody loves the drop. It's just maybe if it would have been after the.
Got it. Yeah, I'm. We'll have to see what happens whenever the sort of Spider-Man-esque Captain America drop happens. These are all first appearance, right? Is that right on this on the blind box?
Yeah, yes, that's correct.
Because they're all technically different Captain America characters. So I don't know if the next one, whenever that happens, will fall into the same sort of space or category, or if this becomes its own. But I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. Yeah.
No, so if I may jump in quickly, if we didn't label these first appearance, even though they are first appearance of these particular characters, we would have been breaking our own rules. I get that there's maybe some disappointment that these are the Mighties line debuting these characters in first appearance, but it is honestly what it is. It's they're the actual first appearance on VeVe of these characters. So if we would have held off and then waited for when Captain America actually drops, let's say, and called that first appearance, I think we would have heard the same amount of chatter.
Yeah, it's very likely.
I think another issue with the first appearance, though, is the fact that the Spider-Man has 5 variants, and Batman's have different artists, and they're all considered first editions. And then the Dragon Girl is considered, first appearance, but that's an artist make, so that should technically be a first edition as well. So there's just like slight minor inconsistencies, I think, and that's what it's kind of building up to. Yeah.
I actually, I might make them aware of the Dragon Girl one. Actually, that's a very good point.
We love you, Rhys.
Yeah, we did make a distinction at one point that the artist releases would be first edition as opposed to first appearance, didn't we? So, yeah, I think that's very accurate. The Spider-Man one was obviously the same character. It just happened to be in different poses, so they're all first appearance because they're technically all the same. Like if they're in different skins or based on a different thing, then it would make sense to to have one as the primary one. And I guess that's the separation that was made with Batman. There was 4 different Batmen, and one of them had to be first appearance. And I guess in that setting, you have the artists to differentiate between them, I guess. But you're right. Yeah, I'll bring it up and just see if there's any inconsistencies that we can fix on that front. Obviously, we went back and did upgrade some of those Batman black and white characters at one point. So it's certainly not unheard of to review that kind of stuff. But we'll do that for sure. Sweet. If anyone else has missed it this week, before we get too much further, we did put out the monthly wrap-up on the Ecomi blog for last month. I just put out a weekly wrap-up earlier this week as well of last week. Obviously, really diving into just how far that exposure has gone from Marvel. I mean, great work, Alex, as well. Like to see that posted across Spider-Man Twitter, Marvel Instagram. This week, I've seen the Mighties be posted on. I think it went out on Captain America Twitter this morning. I've seen it on Marvel as well. So really great to see them working with us on this as well, and really helping us to debut these products. As Alex just mentioned, the Marvel Mighties is the debut of these characters, like the first ever debut. They're not available as physical products, which is pretty exciting. Really exciting to be given that trust, for lack of a better word, to be able to debut those. So if anyone wants to catch up on any of last week's stuff, that's there as well. There was that interview with Ryan Panagos as well, Agent M. Not sure, have any of you guys ever tuned into the This Week in Marvel podcast? Do you guys kind of plug into those resources?
I've caught a few of them before. I'm a fan of them.
I would love to tune into that for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like a good Marvel resource anyway. Obviously, we're now on good terms with Ryan, so we'll try and get some more VeVe content mentioned in there if we can moving forward too. But all in all, I mean, I said this in an AMA last week, but it made me laugh that sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, people were screaming at us saying, why isn't Marvel posting this? Why haven't I heard from Marvel? And then the next day it was kind of all over Marvel. So it's good. It's really good to see that reach starting to expand. Rogers and Cohen are really killing it. The amount of publications that our announcements and PRs are making their way into now is really good to see as well. So that's kind of well underway, that system. What else do we do? I did an AMA with Taps last week. Shout out Taps. Hope you're feeling well. So if anyone missed that, there is an AMA there that you can catch up with. And that Twitter Spaces AMA is linked in that article as well. Some of you may have seen we now have a bit of a channel partnership going with George from Cryptos R Us. It's really nice to see him mentioning Ecomi and the OMI token to his audience. So if you don't already follow him or pay attention, look, he offers really unbiased opinions in the crypto industry. I think he's a great resource. So if you're interested in that side of the industry, I would suggest giving him a follow as well. His channel is Cryptos R Us. On the VeVe side, obviously Marvel Mighties coming up, blind boxes. Now there is an article in the updates section on the VeVe blog for blind boxes. So if you haven't seen that yet, if you have any questions, I've tried to answer most of them, or most questions that I think will come up. So head over there and check it out. But otherwise, we will take questions while we're here. And obviously, you've got myself, we've got Alex here, and Trevor is here as well. So if anyone's got any asset questions,
I'll link that blind box article in the voice chat for you.
Perfect. Oh, that's a good reminder, actually. If there is a voice chat discussion channel, that's what it's called, voice chat discussion. So if you have any questions, guys, and you're not making it up to the stage or need to leave and would like to hear it answered later, just drop them in there, and our mods will try to get them to us as well. Now, other AMAs, I did an AMA in the OKX Telegram group on Wednesday morning, my time. I haven't seen a transcript of that yet, but I'm sure that there's probably one floating around. So that is out. In case anyone missed it, we did list on OKX at the start of the month as well. And Trevor, did you just do another AMA with Cavell?
Yes. Yeah, we did it yesterday.
Okay, perfect. So I'm assuming that's probably out somewhere as well if anyone wants to go check that out. But generally speaking, I think that kind of wraps things up. Alex or Trevor, anything significant happen this week before we dive into questions?
No, I think we're pretty much up to date with everything. Thank you.
All right, no worries. I'll start to bring some people up. If anyone on the stage has anything they want to cover while we're doing it, feel free.
So, quick question on the for the drop boxes. As soon as we get them, are we gonna be able to see like instantly, or are we gonna like buy 5 boxes and then have to wait whatever time it takes for you guys to send them out?
Instantly on these ones. The obviously the plan is to continue to build out this experience so it's more fun, with little unboxing animations and that kind of thing. But no, for this early one, there's quite a lot of dev time that has gone into it. Obviously, we want to get this out for Marvel. So once the purchase process is complete, you'll find out what collectible you got. So I think it's either with the green truck or maybe just after it. But it will tell you what you got and sort of what edition number and all those kind of things. And you'll know that, before it's delivered.
And one more thing, something that's just been nagging me about the app. Like every time I go to follow somebody, it unfollows and I have to follow again. It's a little thing, but it's just annoying things that could,
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. It's probably just a bug. So you follow them, it automatically unfollows them, and then you follow them, and then it follows. Or
yeah. If you look at anybody that has followed you, they'll have to follow you twice most of the time.
It's actually a visual bug. If you tap it one time, it'll say follow and then switch to unfollow. But if you back out and then go back to it again, it'll actually be registered that you are following them.
Okay.
It's just super annoying.
Right. Okay, that's no worries. I'll put that on the dev's plate. They can sort that out.
Quick question before we get too far from the blind box topic. Trevor, will we see a first unboxing ceremony animation?
Not for this drop yet. I mean, I didn't work on one.
No, I think that's, to my knowledge, there's no animation on this one. It's definitely coming. Obviously, this is the first iteration of the blind box kind of experience, but it will definitely build out to be more robust and exciting as we move forward.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey guys.
Hey man.
Thanks for inviting me up. Are we doing questions yet, or do I need to wait?
No, go for it. Yep, we're there.
All right, sweet, awesome. So I had 2 real quick. So the first one I can't claim, but I have a notes, and I like to keep good questions or people asking for certain things. I think this one was K a while back on the Comic-Con editions. Would it be possible to get like when the Comic-Con like drops, whatever year it came out, like having the I think it's CE edition or Comic-Con edition, and then like 2021?
Yeah, I think it would be. It's I suppose, and this is just my assumption. It depends on, obviously we're all under the assumption we'll drop more Comic-Con exclusives, but there are other types of con event as well, and I don't know if they will get the con exclusive tag, or if we'll keep that specifically for Comic-Con, and then there's like Designer Con and some that are more specific to the designer vinyl toy world, some that are more specific to pop art type things. So yeah, I'll get clarification on that.
We actually did answer this in a previous AMA.
Okay.
Rhys. Yeah, it'll be CE designation con exclusive is for all cons. So not only Comic-Con, but Designer Con, Complex Con, or whatever con we happen to be at. New York Comic-Con versus San Diego Comic-Con. So yeah, CE is con across the board. Cons all over the world.
Awesome.
Okay. Perfect. So in that sense, I'll request if we can put like it could be a con exclusive 2021, and that covers all of the 2021 con events or something like that. Some way to to differentiate them.
Nice.
We all understand how important that is. Next question as well.
Yeah, and then the next question was, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but I thought I'd just ask it anyways. Hopefully, this one hasn't been asked. I know y'all take like the first 40 sometimes, or the first 90. Would there ever be a chance maybe that I know y'all would probably always take the first one, but that maybe we can get 2 through 41, and then the ones that y'all take will be 41 to 80 in the first one, so number 1 and then 41 through 80. Is there a way that we can maybe get the earlier ones, or is that a certain reason why it's like that?
Yeah, so those early ones, we have just put a blanket allocation on them from the very start. Now all the number ones go into a big VeVe showroom at some point. Safe to assume it will be somewhere in the VeVe verse. The majority of the rest of them go to the licensors. They'll give some to the artists depending on their deals and whatever happens there. I'm sure Dan and David, keep a couple that they enjoy. I think we'll occasionally see a number 40 enter circulation because we have kept some of that allocation for giveaways, promotions, charity events in the future, that kind of thing. But generally speaking, I mean, if you manage to get your hands on something that's 40 or below, it's not going to be an easy task. And they'll be pretty rare to enter circulation. The other 50 that kind of gets taken from every drop came in maybe 2 months ago, 2 and a bit months ago. And they're the ones that we use for all of these community giveaways and promotions and things. There's a new giveaway happening on Twitter every week these days. Alex, I think you and Noah have been working towards some more community giveaways on the VeVe side too. Is that right?
Yeah, we're looking at a few different platforms to kind of make it all easy to enter and receive and track, and that way it's all on the up and up, and there are no questions about entries and etc. So yeah, we're looking at a few things.
Yeah, perfect. So those other ones will become available in those giveaways. They're completely randomized, the remainder that are taken for that kind of initiative. So they're not sort of 41 to 90 or anything like that. Yeah, and we just use it for that. So to answer your question, I mean, you may see some in circulation eventually, but good luck getting your hands on them.
All right, awesome. And then that was all my questions for this time. I just wanted to say that y'all are doing a great job. I know a lot of people are upset about one thing or another, but eventually everybody's issues are going to be tackled, and we're all going to be happy. I just want to commend y'all for such a positive attitude all the time, because sometimes a bunch of people have really nasty attitudes and are kind of self-centered. So I appreciate y'all being who you are, and that's it.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate it. And just to that point, I think every week or as close to as we can, we're answering more questions and quelling more FUD. Anyone who's been around since the start of the year will have truly been part of this journey with us. So, big thanks to everybody that shows up every week as well and voices their concerns and brings things to our attention. We are obviously trying to work through everything as quickly as possible. But this is business, right? And things take time. So, yep, as you said, we'll continue working towards trying to make everybody as happy as we possibly can. All right.
Hey, guys.
Okay.
I've got my audio working, I think. I've got a community question and then one question for myself. The community one is more towards you, Rhys. So that is, someone's asking about the blind boxes. So has there been any discussions on allowing the blind boxes to be, I guess, unopenable, if that's even a word? Like you can just trade or sell them without having to open them?
Keep them sealed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've spoken about it. We're not there yet with the tech, but I personally think that would be pretty awesome, and have some of these, you see it with, and I hate to say this word, but you see it with Pokemon cards and unboxing.
Confirmed.
And people rip them open years after the fact, and the excitement is there. So I think it would be a really cool feature to be able to sell these things around. So I think it's definitely on the agenda, but I don't know what it takes from it.
one really interesting, I guess, advantage of the NFT blind boxes is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Pokemon cards, a lot of people would weigh the packs because the holo foils would be slightly heavier. So this whole like industry became kind of corrupted. Like people were selling weighted packs on eBay, but you won't get that kind of fear of having a weighted NFT because you can't really weigh them. So the chance of having an ultra rare hasn't been drastically reduced.
Yeah,
I just think that's pretty cool.
yeah, that's awesome. I would like to see, maybe that could feed into the master collector at some point. Like someone mentioned, the higher your ranking, maybe you just have a slightly higher chance of getting a more rare card. Or, we obviously talk about access to, maybe not individual sales, but access to more exclusive content depending on what you collect or what level. But I think that would be cool too. If you got some sort of blind box opening random chance advantage as well.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see where that goes.
Now, second question is more towards Trevor. So, I know that Trevor on his AMA with Cavell, he addressed my paraplegic man question.
I did say that.
Yeah, so basically, I just wanted to understand a bit more as to what the process of, I guess, amending an asset looks like. Because I know there are a couple of others that people have kind of raised, like the Pitbull hoverboard. There's like a kind of missing booster thing on the back, and yeah, just like what does that process look like? Because some people are kind of a bit, I guess, a bit frustrated that they've had a asset that has some kind of a error on it for so long.
I would say the actual technical process of it is iterating on the asset that exists, and basically it's 3D modeling work. It's whatever the issue is: 3D modeling, animation, visual effects, sound effects, whatever needs to be fixed. It's hard to say. Each asset's different. What the actual fixes it is that needs to be made. Some of them are fairly simple. Some of them are quite complicated, and
Oh, we might have just lost you there.
sorry, I stopped. It's beyond just like some of them are easier to make, some are more difficult, and it's also about like that kind of prioritization work that needs to be done around the asset.
Okay, that's pretty insightful. Do we have like an ETA on when Superman leg reattached?
Oh my god, you're not gonna let that go.
What's the Rhys? What's the proper answer to all when questions? Soon? Is that what we do?
Yeah, we
Hashtag
hashtag soon. Hashtag soon. We're cool like that.
Hashtag soon legs.
Soon legs. That's it. What does it need legs for? It can fly. Let's be real.
So I've got a token
Just
question
a
for
flying
you, Rhys.
torso.
Yeah, you've got to. Sorry, go for it.
No worries. So we saw Spider-Man burn over 1 billion tokens, and when you guys start increasing the additions to fit the user base, you guys are going to start burning, billions and billions more tokens. It's just going to increase over time. What happens when the token starts to reach like the full burns? Like, what does that mean for the token? Can the token be fractioned or halved when we start coming to the end of them?
Yeah. So all crypto tokens can be divided to 16 decimals, I think is the standard. So you kind of have almost these infinite divisions, which I guess maintains liquidity in any sort of circumstance. But this is how the system's been designed, right? We've always been working towards more drops more regularly. Obviously, the bigger the user base, the drop sizes will increase, collectible dependent, right? We won't go too crazy, but that will take place. So yeah, we're definitely expecting to be burning more tokens the bigger this grows. Now that will be balanced by, and this is not in any way financial advice, but as the token scarcity increases, presumably so does the value of the token, which will offset some of that burn, right? It's obviously if we're burning whatever the token price is today, 0.003 or whatever.
Right.
If we go back to 1 cent, well, then we're burning 3 times less than what we're burning today, right? So
Right.
that scarcity will balance things out. The growing user base will balance out the increase in price, presumably, of course. But yeah, every token can be divided into 16 decimals. So if the token supply, when it starts to get low, presumably it will be balanced by the number of people and maintain that liquidity in the reserve. Then we also have the buybacks that are designed to top that up. And then once we can add the new utilities, once we are over on immutable, we start burning more tokens from the circulating supply as well, from the open market supply, which again, in theory, pushes up the price, which again balances out the burn. So yeah, I think the number of tokens in there is going to see us maintain liquidity for longer than any of us are probably on this earth. But it's definitely designed to make that happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. And look, I'll just address the buybacks too, because I know people are asking me about it. I see it on a lot of things. Guys, it's back on David Yu's desk. He's told me he's prioritizing it. We do tread carefully between, the OMI token is a utility token, always has been. In these instances, there's some legal gray areas where you have to be very careful you're not walking into the security line. But he's on top of it, and he'll get back to me as soon as he's ready for the next round. So I know it's not the exact answer people are hoping for. I can't just say it will start again on this date or anything like that. But it's back on his priority list, and I'll get back to you when I have more on it, basically.
Sweet. And then one more question from the community. It's kind of been floating around for a while. How will cashing out in the app work when MTL arrives?
Yep, great question. So when it rolls out, I think it's safe to assume it will roll out in a limited capacity to start. Just same as anything, if you're testing it on a live app, you don't want to be exposing anything untoward. But basically, you'll have an option to toggle it on and off, essentially. I am going to assume it will be in your profile section in the app, and you will need to go through a KYC AML process. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, know your customer regulations or any anti-money laundering regulations are a very standard thing with any business that deals with financial assets. So the same way when you sign up to an exchange or anything like that, you will need to provide some sort of proof of identity. I'm assuming there will be like a basic verification and then a more advanced, and that might be something that is more open to certain tier of master collector. But basically, you'll toggle it on, you'll pass the KYC, and then you'll be able to basically sell your gems, I guess, or withdraw that value in gems back to your bank account. I'm pretty sure it's to a bank account. It's not to a spending card or anything like that. But in a nutshell, that's how it will work.
I got a
Awesome. It sounds exciting. Thank you.
I got a question
Yep.
for Trevor.
Go for it.
All right. Crypto Crowns from YouTube stream says, for the sky travel outside of the vault, will it be disabled like with the new vault implementation? Also, he says, will in-vault collectible oversized scaling be disabled?
Oversized scaling shouldn't be disabled. Traveling outside the vault was a bug, not a feature. So that is being fixed, I will call it. However, as far as, and I don't want to get too far into the specifics because this is leaning more into systems and kind of the tech for people who place those assets out there, and they want to, if they move it to the new showroom and they want to get it out effectively and move them around, there's like ways to do that, as well as like, right, I think for keeping the old showroom to some degree, which I'm personally not the biggest fan of because the new showroom looks so much better. But that's there will be ways to address that for people who like build stuff out in the skybox.
Gotcha. So when flyable T-Rex?
I think that's more the pterodactyl kind of thing. I would think because I don't. Or let's be real, I don't see Universal as the licensor going for. That's not what the T-Rex does in the IP, so we're probably not going to support it. Oh, pterodactyl's fine. We have those in the IP. Maybe I don't know. I'm just trying to think like a licensor. There.
You guys have how to train your dragon. It's like technically a dinosaur kind of thing. It flies.
Oh, I mean, it seems like Marvel will come out with something that flies before anybody. Take an Iron Man that flies.
They do have a lot of stuff that flies. That's very fair. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. What if we were to do an animation, like say a pterodactyl, Trevor? Is it the kind of thing that would have to be on a loop, or can we? Like, how would that work as a flying collectible? Is that sort of what happens in the back end?
So the technical process of building those kinds of assets is you basically identify all the behaviors you want the asset to be able to do, and then you create animations to support those behaviors as well as like the general like tweening between them. So if we're going to do let's say we had a pterodactyl and we want to have it fly, we would create a looping flight animation where you'd see the pterodactyl flying around, and there might be different parts to that animation in terms of one where he's flapping, one where he's like just gliding, and then you would have also like the takeoff land behavior, assuming that's something that we're going to want it to do. And you basically build an animation tree that like moves between those pieces. Some of the stuff like direction, like how it actually moves through the air, like or like that kind of stuff would probably more be driven on the engine side as opposed to animating. You don't really animate translation through space into assets like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, from a non-tech perspective, yeah, I think that makes sense. If we were, I mean, you just mentioned like a takeoff and landing and things like, do we get to a point where you can change those points? So, it takes off here and you say, I want it to land over there, and it can happen, or it's likely it would always have to return to the same point that it started for now?
Rhys, stop adding scope.
I'm doing this.
No, actually, the reality is to actually have it take off. Okay, just walking through. If I were to build the asset, I would build it in a way where all the animation, it would just be on the asset itself. And basically, if the asset was on the ground, it would have and then you had it take off. It would play the animation where it takes off, and then the asset in the engine would translate up into the air a bit. Then you could have it like pilot it around, what have you, and then you could put it down anywhere you wanted. That would actually be simpler than putting specific points in space and having it have to like path its way over to them.
Got it. And is it possible, in the same way that Ghost Trap interacts with Slimer, I mean, can we have our dinosaurs eat our collectibles?
Once again, you're out here just adding scope in public, and it's just really hurting me. You're really killing me here. But yeah, I mean, how doable is that? Yeah, it's pretty doable.
Okay, cool.
But actually,
Amazing.
the same question that Rhys asked about the flying pterodactyl, but how about like the Enterprise? The same way that we drove the DeLorean around, would we be able to drive the Enterprise, like fly it?
I hope so. That one's almost a simpler asset to achieve that with because it doesn't have like a flapping animation. They just kind of
it's just like
they just kind of hover around.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Just to chime in there, I just had a kind of like a idea/question. So in Unity, so when I was playing around with it a couple of years ago, there's something called IBM Watson's speech recognition API. And basically, what I did was I built a AR model which responded to voice commands. So it gave me the idea of, if you had hypothetically like a Star Wars stormtrooper, it would recognize phrases. So you could say execute order 66, and the AR model would kind of, do what it does and start shooting. I was wondering if it had been discussed or thought about of introducing NFTs in the future, which may implement additional kind of gesture recognition such as speech, because I know that's possible with Unity, so I wouldn't think that's outside the realms of something VeVe could do.
It's a cool idea. It's depends what we want to have it do. I mean, ultimately, you're trying to this wouldn't be a tool we build. There's obviously APIs and stuff that we could tap into to do like voice command stuff like that. Something like pterodactyl, like when you call your pterodactyl and tell it to come here, it basically having it take off and fly to you wherever the phone is is a lot simpler to do than, hey, random whatever Star Wars character, can you execute Order 66 and then have it go around and kill everything in the showroom? Which, while it sounds cool, again, we're out here just, oh my god, the scope.
Even I love that idea though, being able to call to your pterodactyl and have it fly to you. I mean, put it on the list, Trevor.
All right.
Let's go.
As long as you're paying for it, that's fine.
Yeah. By me, I mean Dan. But yes, I approve all spending.
And to clarify about paying for it, I'm speaking specifically about paying for the development, because this is some expensive as shit features you guys are recommending.
Okay. Oh, well, that's fine. We can do it. Where there's a will, there's a way, my friend. That's all we need. Just a reminder too, guys, as I'm inviting people up to speak, you do have to accept the invitation. So if you're sitting on the sidelines and waiting and you see a little thing pop up, just accept it and you'll come up to the stage.
Yep. Can I ask a question if you can hear me okay?
Yep, we got you there, mate. Go for it.
Cool. Anytime. Obviously, we want to say thanks for all the hard work and the clear communication. It's so appreciated on the community's end. As we're sitting here talking about all this cool stuff, I guess my question is for Trevor or Rhys. There's so much in the work between VeVeverse, Master Collector. God, I mean, there's just so much. Is there anything that you're most excited for? You know, what's the thing that gets you most excited about the possibilities just through this platform in general?
Trevor, you want to take that?
I was hoping you could go first. For me, I will say there's like, for me at the like basic level, a lot of the content we have coming is really exciting. I love every time I see a new model comes in and everything just looks better than what came before, across all the IPs, not just like announced, unannounced stuff that we've like been talking about actively, stuff we haven't talked about in a while. There's just a lot of really cool stuff there. I don't want to go too far into it or open like a big can of worms around it. And I kind of talked about this a bit with Cavell yesterday, which is like the opportunities for interactivity, gamification, and gaming itself, while I still think is pretty far out, not just for VeVe, but honestly, like across NFTs and the larger gaming space in general. That stuff is really exciting to me. A lot of problems that need to be solved there, but I think that's something that I'm particularly interested in and like exploring on my own as well.
Nice. I think for me, one of the most exciting things is the reach of this. Like, obviously our scope and vision and the roadmap and the plans and all of those things feed into that. But I mean, we've already seen the kind of impact that this sort of product or this focal point can have on communities, you know, and on bringing people together and on that shared experience. And, you know, we're very blessed that, you know, the NFT hype and industry really followed the crypto hype and industry, and it exists in a lot of pockets all around the world. So from a product standpoint, that's helped us to penetrate a lot of different marketplaces, but it's also created these bubbles of community in those places. And when you see things like, you know, we're in the top ranking entertainment apps in the App Store, but, you know, the world over, not just in the US or Australia or things like that. I mean, I think that's really exemplifying the fact that our reach has really grown across the world. And I'm just really excited to see how that develops. You know, this AMA, all of the conversations we all have on a weekly basis is truly testament to how the community's developed so far. But yeah, I'm excited.
Sure. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like you said, there's some different areas you can reach, and right now it seems we're only really in like the movie space and the character space. Second question, kind of leading into that. I mean, could you guys ever see the potential of like an album dropping on VeVe? You know, I'm basically, every time Kanye delays Donda, I keep telling myself he wants to figure out all the kinks to drop it on VeVe. So like, could something like that ever happen?
Yeah, Yeah, I think definitely. Whether it's, you know,
I think this kind of dives more into the metaverse style thing. You know, I've seen David, you mentioned that we
would eventually have like concerts in the metaverse, right? And we've seen that in Decentraland and a few things in the last 12 months. That's already taken place. I really do think a lot of our physical existence will move into digital spaces. And I mean, the same way that VeVe can distribute collectibles. I mean, it's an incredible distribution mechanism for any sort of intellectual property, be it an album or artwork or something else. So, yeah, I can see it happening.
I feel like, yeah, it might be more of a Spotify thing at this point, but I'd love to see it happen in the NFT space a little more.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that with musicians and dropping albums, I would think that their compensation more beneficial to them in the NFT space. I feel like maybe the royalties could be higher on the constant buying and trading of the album as opposed to just the royalties.
Agreed. There are some really great projects out there that are kind of tackling this. I don't know if you guys have seen Audius before, but they're kind of building a Spotify for the crypto world and paying better royalties. There are some projects that are offering albums, and you know, if you own you can have a fractionalized ownership over that album or that record, and then earn ongoing royalties from people playing it, that kind of thing. So there's definitely people and projects exploring it. As to how it crosses over for us, we'll have to wait and see.
Do you think that other licensors are taking note of like how the fact that Marvel was able to have like a extra 6%? Like, does DC see that and say, well, why don't we have a 6%? That fee increasing for other licensors as time rolls on in VeVe?
I have no doubt that they're looking at it now and wondering why they didn't go for the same thing.
As to how that develops, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what sort of deals David and Dan have struck up and can continue to maintain.
Yeah, I mean, and personally, I want to be upset about the 8% fee on the user side because the collectibles appreciate so much almost immediately anyway. So on our end, I see no harm, no foul with increasing the fee just a little bit.
Yeah, and look, I mean, if that's what it's going to take to get more and more of the world's biggest brands on board, then you know it will be a consideration at the time.
Exactly. Cool. Thanks for answering all my questions, guys. Like I said, always appreciate everything you do and taking all this time. It's much appreciated.
No problem at all. Thanks for being up here.
I got a question if nobody has one.
Yeah, if you want to jump in, Kyle, and then we might go VeVe Galaxy, and then Josh, if you're up here as well.
All right. I got my little girl here, so sorry about that. But I got Split Sniper 7 in the YouTube stream says, can someone explain what seasons mean in terms of the NFTs and how long each season is?
Yep. So each season is 6 months long, or thereabouts. It really came around. It wasn't when we first launched. We didn't really have that as a part of the puzzle. But you know, you never really go into these things knowing everything. It was probably around 4, maybe 5 months in that the buyer exhaustion started to become quite apparent. You know, obviously we're always talking to people in the community, and I mean, we were tired, but everybody was kind of tired, and it just became a really great way to differentiate between, you know, these were released the very first ones, right? And you see it in games all the time, and I guess you see it in the industry too, right? You get these kind of early exclusive editions and that kind of thing. So that was the logic behind it, just to help separate and differentiate things a little more. And yeah, they're roughly in 6 month increments. Was that all there was to that question?
Yeah, I think so. That was it. They said thank you and appreciate it. Also, quick question: any update on the old NFL PA since preseason's here?
Have not heard anything recently. I know that there's some fun things in the works that we're waiting to roll out in the next few weeks, but I'm waiting to get any sort of confirmation before I go saying anything.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. As soon as more news on that front, well, as soon as someone lets me blab about it, I'll release it, basically. But yeah, VeVe Galaxy, you up here? You got a question?
Yes. Actually, I have one question, one idea, and one issue that have been experienced. So my question is this the only Captain American that will be dropping this Saturday, or will be dropping more in the future?
Oh, there'll be more in the future. Yeah, I mean, this is sort of 4 iterations of Captain America plus the Red Skull. Marvel and the character have been around for a long time, so yeah, I think there'll be other iterations. At some point, I would expect a Spider-Man style drop for Captain America for that premium tier collectible. I wouldn't call these the Mighties a lower tier than that. Sorry, I wouldn't consider them in the same echelon of collectibles. So there's definitely kind of those style of drops yet to come.
And now my idea is, this idea happened after I was watching some videos on YouTube. So let's imagine that on the future, we drop a drop that is interactive, right? That you can control, right? Like with a control. Let's imagine we drop Street Fighter, right? So my idea is, if we can like do in the VeVeverse a multiplier, yeah, where we can fight online with each other. Also, another idea is, if like let's imagine you have a 5,000 mine, right? So not many people will buy it, right? It will buy it cheap. So my idea is, if that 5,000 mine can level up, get experience with each battle online. So with level 10, level 20, level 15.
Yeah, and then becomes more valuable because of it. Yeah, that's moving into the space of gaming and the metaverse and that kind of thing. I think the first iterations of that we'll see, rather than a specific game allowing you to level up those characters, is that you'll have composable collectibles or skins or weapons or outfits, that kind of thing, that will be added, and then can sort of increase that value there. We've definitely talked about being able to fight things. Sorry, Trevor, we're about to jump in.
Also, well, now my issue, like, it's about auctions. I have seen that I bid on things, and then after 1 minute or the last minute, someone bids like super high, and at the end of the day, he doesn't pay at all. And sometimes that specific item that I was bidding on it doesn't appear never again. I want to ask how this can be solved on the future, or
Yeah. So is the issue that you got outbid, or that it was outbid by a lot and it seems like a scam?
I got outbid, but also the person, well, he didn't pay at the end, or looks like a fake bid.
Okay, but you don't know that he didn't pay, right?
He didn't pay because I was looking at the item all day. So the item disappeared at 5 p.m. like recently, but yesterday it ended at 5. The auction. So he needs to pay in 24 hours, and today he didn't pay. So
yeah, if people don't pay, they lose access to the market for 72 hours. So there is a punishment in place there. I think once we end up with KYC on with the MTL and that kind of thing, it will really help to cut out a lot of these fake bidders as well, if we can integrate that sort of practice. But otherwise, just make us aware of it as we go. I mean, if it's an outrageously high bid, there seems to be a lot of, I guess a lot of fake accounts still that will bid like 10,000 gems on a Murmur Corner, and that it's a fake bid. It's very easy to identify as a fake bid. So yeah, just make us aware of it, and any time that we can, our support team will look into those things and try to put a stop to those accounts.
my idea is, my idea is like, let's imagine the last person bid 50, right? And then the fake bidder comes and he bid 10,000, right? the bid end and he doesn't pay. So my idea is if we give the opportunity to the second person to pay, so it pass on until the
Yeah,
one.
yeah. It's been suggested before as well, and we were putting in a system of escrow. So anyone who bid had to commit, 10 gems to a pool, and then whoever won paid for it. Otherwise, the seller would at least get something from that. Now, since we put in the 2FA and the first stage of the auction rollout, which was the punishments, the 72-hour lockout, no new accounts can access the market in the first 72 hours as well. It's actually significantly cut down on that sort of practice. So much so that it is probably easier to just start, for us to cut out those accounts as opposed to re-implement a new process for it. But for now, just make us aware of it, and I'll put it on my list to bring back up and see what the plan is with it.
Yeah, an escrow will be really cool. I mean, is like getting admins that get paid on gems. If the
Yeah, so it was meant to be a matter of, like, if you were going to participate in an auction, you essentially have to commit 10 gems or whatever the amount was. So that if you won and you didn't pay, then at least the seller would receive some sort of compensation for that. So that's what that was. What I think we see a bit of at the moment is those fake bids, people trying to move around their gems to get around the daily limits, which is why you're seeing crazy amounts of bidding going on for these kind of lower tier collectibles. But we're aware of it. The devs are watching it, so it's it's people's time is limited if they're trying to take advantage of the system that way.
Yeah, it will be really cool if you think in my idea, like if the last person doesn't pay, pass on the collectible to the second person, and he has less hours, like 10 hours to pay, then another person 5 hours. So
Yeah. It's a possibility. From a technical standpoint, I think it's quite difficult, but if that's what we need to implement, then we can put that in.
yeah, that's cool because allows a really good item on the marketplace. It was
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking when it happens. We've all been through it, we all get that part for sure. But yeah, hopefully that answers that while we're here as well.
yeah. Well, if one day we get Star Wars, if you see the game on YouTube, it's called Battlefield 2 from Star Wars. I mean, people play like 8,000 hours or 1 year on that game. So imagine on VeVeverse, we put Star Wars fighting on Street Fighter. I mean, it would be a completely success.
Oh yeah, it's already we're shaping up. We're shaping up. Things are looking pretty good around here. We'll keep building out based on the user experience so that people keep enjoying what we're providing.
Do you think we will buy land on the VeVeverse?
It is a possibility. It is a possibility. We haven't got that far yet. There was definitely some early discussions about it. I personally really like that about the sort of NFT metaverse that you can create. Yeah, we'll have to wait until we get a bit closer to before I bother speculating too far on that. All right, team, I'm going to invite a few more people up to the stage. There's a couple up here now. Garlic, if you want to jump in there.
Rhys. Oh.
Yep, go for it. Or anyone.
Thanks so much, Rhys.
Oh, sorry, Josh. I apologise. I did say thanks. That's my bad. Go for it, Josh. We'll go you first, mate, and then we'll come back to Garlic.
Just sorry about that and for the confusion there. So I guess I want to start off saying, obviously I love the stuff that you guys been putting up. So with the Mighties, kind of let down with, the 5 different first appearances we have here. Down the line, can we see a, quote unquote Falcon instead of a Sam Wilson and have that be a first appearance?
Yeah, I think so.
because it depends on the definition of the character, is my sort of assumption. Alex, do you have a bit more insight into how that's kind of taking place now?
I think that's more of a Dan and Dave question, but I don't see why, if Falcon as Falcon and not Sam Wilson as Captain America appeared, that it wouldn't be a first appearance of Falcon. I mean, that makes sense to me, but then again, I don't know, to be honest with you. And that's honestly up to Marvel and Dan and David to make that decision.
Yeah, that's kind of where I stand on it too. I just smile
Gotcha.
and go with what they say.
Sure. So, with that being said, when Alex said obviously a Falcon would be a Falcon. So why isn't one of these labeled as a Captain America, since we got kind of like 4 of them?
They're all labeled as their persona. Is that right?
No, they're all Captain America. It's a Captain America series, and to differentiate them, because they've each donned the mantle, or donned the title of Captain America.
But none of them say first appearance Captain America.
But they're all first appearance of those characters as Captain America. So maybe.
So, can I shed some light
confusion.
on that?
Each one. So Steve Rogers as Captain America is the first appearance of Steve Rogers as Captain America. Sam Wilson as Captain America is the first appearance of Sam Wilson as Captain America, and so on.
Do you mind if I add something to that?
Go for it.
So there's a difference between a hero classification and a character classification. So when you've got a character that's also has a secret
question. I think that's the way. I think that's what you asked. I'm sorry if I'm not answering the question.
No, that's all right. If Granola wants to continue that, then we'll come back to it.
Oh no, I was just going to add on to what you were saying about there's just difference between a hero classification and a character.
Somebody trying to talk?
Sorry, we're getting a bit of.
I was just going to say, yeah, Robins are kind of the same situation where you have multiple different characters as Robin, but they're all their own individual first appearances.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Respects. So I think it's kind of like the same situation there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So to come back to the original question, could we see a Captain America just as Captain America as a first appearance character? I mean, that makes sense to me in this instance, as these are all individual representations of people as the character. But as we said, that's a Dan, Dave, Marvel, somebody more important than me to decide question.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was just going to add to what Alex was saying, just to put it in another clearer term. There's hero classifications and there's character classifications. When a character has a secret persona, they have 2 identities in comics and collectibles and everything. They have, like, for example, Captain America is Steve Rogers. He's also Captain America. So this is the first appearance of Steve Rogers, not Captain America. He is dressed like Captain America, so it's a little confusing, but that's how that works.
So
but do you know that for sure? I mean, I appreciate the context from the comic world, but I think we're going to have to ask for clarification from Marvel on that, because the way I'm thinking about it, the way I'm thinking about it is that Steve Rogers is appearing as Captain America, so they're one and the same, and that would mean that it's the first appearance for both in theory. So if Winter Soldier, for instance, Bucky Barnes appears later as Winter Soldier and not Captain America, then that would be a first appearance of Bucky Barnes as Winter Soldier.
So then the confusion in this case just comes from the fact that it's Sam Wilson. It's Bucky Barnes. It's not Bucky Barnes as Captain America. It's not Sam Wilson as Captain America.
So yes, but I would refute that actually. In the article, the series name is Season 1 Captain America Marvel Mighties. So they're all Captain America.
Okay, gotcha. So it's under the series title then.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
And I think, and if you didn't see that in the graphic assets that we put out on social, for instance, probably just a matter of space. But they're all.
I think that's what it was.
They're all the persona as the character.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Gotcha. I think I was just expecting maybe as a Falcon without the cap. I think the Captain America colors or the suit on each individual character is causing a question there. So then down the line, can we see this again with Iron Man or Hulk? Since there's a totally awesome Hulk and She-Hulk, or can we see that as Iron Man, Ironheart, War Machine type of thing?
Yeah, I would assume so. If they're all individual.
Yeah, I mean those are all distinct characters, right? So yeah, so each in theory would be their respective first appearances.
Yeah, but like totally awesome Hulk or She-Hulk would count as like a Hulk, and like I'm trying to compare it to how you're explaining this Captain America situation.
Yeah. No, I think they would be their individual characters. So same as this, I feel like we've all kind of gone in circles and talked the same point right now. But yeah, these are like the first appearance Bucky Barnes or the first appearance Sam Wilson or whatever as Captain America, right? So in the future, yeah, we could see a first appearance Captain America of a different persona or a different a different kind of character. And so when it comes to Hulk, She-Hulk, those kind of things, I guess it just depends on who is identifying them, and are they a new character? Where is that character coming from? Is it a comic? Is it from the film? That kind of thing. But look, for now, let's just agree to get Dan on to explain this better to everybody.
Cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I really like how Alex explained it, how it's titled under the series. That makes perfect sense to me, actually.
Perfect. I'm glad someone got sense out of that.
Then also I had another question about just a marketplace real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do an auction and when to go to place my bid, I've noticed that, so say there's a bid on a Ritmo for 600 and I go to bid, my bid will come up as like 400 and something, or like a random number. It doesn't give me the next inline bid. Is that something that's going to be fixed?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it used to be that it would start at the current price and then you could bid up. And then I know that we made some changes and now you have to re-enter the new bid each time. So I'll put that on my list and see if it's in the pipeline for sure.
Sweet, thank you.
No problem.
Hey, thanks for your time. I have a few questions for you. Some are very quick and basic, and some are more complex. First one would be regarding the season 5 of Batman. We don't have any comic artist name displayed on the item. I wanted to know why. Is there a specific reason, and are you going to correct that?
Yep, that came down from the licensors. That was their decision. They are going through their own sort of processes with their artists to really establish how they're all going to kind of approach this space moving forward. So that was the advice we were given. So we removed that kind of specific artist reference at that point.
Because as a newcomer to the Nick world and so on, it was pretty nice to understand who has a hero kind of Batman. But okay, whatever.
Agreed. Yeah, it's nice to it's just nice to learn more about the artists that created them too. And yeah, I agree. It was a really good feature to have there. So hopefully we can put that back in the future.
Okay, nice. The second question is a bit more complex. It's regarding a specific situation that is occurring right now on Telegram. As you might know, there are some escrow groups on Telegrams to allow users to cash out and cash in some gems and USDT and so on. And we have saw recently a wave of newcomers with a lot of gems, but obviously that these gems were money laundering on stolen cards that's been cashed in Apple Store app and Play Store app. And the big concern of the user that are buying this kind of gems to this specific user is really simple. Would they have any risk to get these kind of gems, store them into their accounts without knowing that it was on a stolen card before?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just going to blanket say this, we say it every week. I mean, we don't support anything that takes place off the app. We can't support any sort of external gem transaction, any of those things. If those transactions are happening regularly and it becomes, they're the sort of things that can get flagged in our system as potentially fraudulent. And yeah, there's always a risk that you may not lose access to your account or those things, but it may be disabled for a while it's investigated. So we certainly don't promote it, we don't condone it, we don't support it. Any chance or risk you take outside of that is up to you.
One other question is regarding the brands. We know that a lot of us are waiting for the move to immutable and being able to sell or resell our items on OpenSea and so on. What is the share of brands that, in your opinion, will allow items to be sold on other platforms versus those who would like to keep it into VeVe for now?
I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think that the whole industry is going to move to this much more open and interoperable system. So eventually, in a few years' time, I would like to see all of them taking place. In the immediate short term, it all comes down to the licensor. It comes down to how they're willing to let us use their IP. Do they understand these kind of platforms? Is it an easy transition? Now, that's what we do, right? We really handhold licensors through this process, or we have up until this point. And now, most of them really understand what's taking place. Just in conversations, some of the Clubhouse chats we've had with Frank Kozik and Jermaine Rogers and people like that, they're much more fluid in the way they can operate. One, they already use OpenSea. They're already very familiar with it. And two, they represent themselves. So they can be much more accommodating much more quickly than a bigger brand that would have, huge legal teams and pages and pages of contractual obligations. So, look, I think to start with, the more fluid creators are probably going to be the first ones to enable it. And moving forward, I would hope that the bigger brands take up the mantle as well.
Okay, so you are not able for now, for example, on 50 brands, just to let us know, like 40 are okay to move to another NFT platform, or like 10 or whatever?
No, I don't have those numbers or figures just yet. I think it will be more of the conversation once the migration has taken place.
And last question would be, and I let the voice for another one. Last question would be regarding the MCP, because there is a lot of frustration right now currently in the community with the collector that has collected items for months from the beginning. Do you have any timeline regarding the MCP?
Yeah, no, I don't have a definitive timeline yet. I mean, it's in the pipeline and it's certainly getting closer to the top, but obviously there's some pretty massive things that have taken place and have to take place. I mean, blind boxes have been pretty incredible, obviously getting ready for comic books, because all of those things, other than new developments and functionality, like the comic book is a redesign of the app. There'll now be a new section in the store and things like that to access that as a product. So from a development standpoint, those things have taken priority. But the Master Collector is definitely getting closer. What I did pick up on some of this feedback. I think it was VeVe Flipper in his video with the Comic Way. Shout out to those guys. Making a really good point that, yeah, we now do have a lot of collectors that have been acquiring these things long term, obviously from a fan standpoint, but also for being rewarded when this program runs out. And we do need to find the balance between really rewarding those people that are collecting and using the app for that. So, look, I hope at the very least we can put out an outline of the program itself much sooner than it rolls out, so that at least people understand the value of holding these collectibles. But leave that one with me. I'll put it on my list and see what we can sort of get out into the public as quickly as possible.
And would you have a panel of collectors just to ask them questions regarding the in itself, regarding the functionalities, regarding the features, and so on. Would you have any panel from like 10 collectors, reputable collectors, just to ask them question and be sure you are aligned with what they're
we actually already do that. We already do that with quite a number of groups of people. Obviously I get sort of rolling feedback all day every day anyway, but no, we've definitely kind of reached into a number of communities just to kind of make sure that our expectations are on point, what other people are anticipating of the master collector, and those kind of things are taking place as well. So we're definitely on top of it.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for your time and your
No worries. Thanks for coming up here. I'll keep bringing a few more people up, and I think if anyone's up here that wants to ask anything too while we're here, how about it?
Hey guys, I do have 2 or 3 questions if you guys don't mind.
Let's do it.
So first and foremost, I just wanted to say congratulations on the drop. Congratulations on having Marvel marketing for you guys. That's huge. But to top on what Garlic just mentioned, do you guys plan on having any particular avenue that you guys can reach out to, let's say as content creators or directly in the Discord, that will help Ecomi as a team with whatever you guys are looking for? I did speak with Alex last week on Clubhouse or something. He said that everything that we've been doing as a community is great, but a lot of content creators want to help you guys move forward the best as possible. So if there's anything that we can do to help you to answer any questions or anything, is that something?
Yeah, absolutely. We alluded a few weeks ago to an ambassador program, which is still in the works. I apologize on the delays on that front. And that's definitely the intention of that, right? It's so that we can continue to work closely with the people who are out there and creating content and videos and things about us. Obviously, there will be some sort of reward mechanism there, just so that we can say thank you to people for going so far above and beyond what people need to. So, yep, it's definitely in the works. It's likely to be a little way off yet, just so we can get a few more ducks in a row, but it's definitely the intention. I want to continue working as closely with you guys as we can. I mean, one, because we're building it for you, right? I mean, that's what our experience is based on. But two, like there is no better feedback mechanism. You know, we know when we've hit the nail on the head, and we know when things haven't landed quite as well as we thought they would. So yeah, we definitely want to continue to implement those processes too.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. That actually led right into my next question about the ambassador program. Listen, we understand there's no rush. When patience, #soon. But
yeah,
is there any particular way or best route to get into the ambassador program or the beta tester program? Shout out to Noah.
Yes. I will post my OMI address in the voice chat, and just send me a bribe, and I will put you in the list.
Secret.
Look,
it's been sent.
That's it. Anyone that actually wants to get involved, I mean, it's more a matter of go out and do it, right? Like we are quite across the people that are creating content. I mean, it's hard to miss. Anything that stands out comes across my desk anyway. And over time, I mean, I really think I've gotten to know quite a lot of you, let alone sort of recognize the content and the energy and effort that everyone is going to bring this to new people. So look, I think if anyone's considering it, or you're sitting on the fence, just get out there and start something, have some fun with it. I mean, this is the most supportive community you can be a part of. And typically, if that is the place you're doing this kind of thing from, if it's because you really enjoy it and want to have fun with it, that really resonates. It resonates with other people in the community. It resonates with us. You're the kind of people that we want contributing. So that would be my advice on that front.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, sorry. I've got a community question. Just wasn't sure if because it's one that I keep forgetting to ask as well. The secure wallets. I believe they were restocked, but they sold out like a secret rare drop. I literally just keep missing it myself. Do you know when they're next getting restocked, or could we get like an email reminder, like it's
Yeah,
gonna get restocked tomorrow, kind of thing?
that they didn't get restocked. I don't know what that was. I think someone just slipped and pushed a button. So there was only like maybe 5 or 6 that became available, and it might have just been leftover stock or something like that that we found. So they haven't officially been restocked. You know, they haven't sort of been missed. Now we're also in the process. I'm waiting for the devs to upload a new build of the Secure Wallet app for us to test. And once that's all good, we'll roll that out. Then we will restock the store. Reason being, right now when you receive the wallet, and I think we're going to avoid doing it this way, but you need to do a firmware update as soon as you receive it. And for some reason, some of those updates just wouldn't quite work, and we'd end up sending out a new wallet, or there was a problem with the connection or that kind of a thing. So I think the new app solves that by waiting for the app before we restock. I think we can provide them with the most up-to-date firmware, which just makes the end user experience much easier. Frankly, it makes my support experience much easier. So that's the rollout there. Now I'm expecting that new build to be uploaded realistically after, probably in the next 2 weeks. This month is quite big for the devs as it is. I don't know how long it will take us to test. Probably not that long. It's gone through a few stages of it already. So look, hopefully we can get them back in the store in September. But when they do come out, I'll make the noise about it. I run all the support on the secure wallet side as well, so I'll just post it all through the announcement channels and socials and things, and there should be plenty in stock when it happens, so no one will miss out at that point.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if you should have said 2 weeks, because people are penciling it in their diaries now, and they're going to be like, Rhys promised us 2 weeks.
2 weeks until Rhys gets to test the new app. I don't know how long it takes past that point. But yeah, look, obviously they've been out of stock for a while. I know it's really frustrating for a lot of people, and it's just a really cool wallet. So yeah, hopefully we can get that back into gear soon as well.
All right, I got a couple questions.
Yep.
As far as when the immutable chain migration happens, will the
We just lost you there, Matt. Do you want to just start that again?
Oh, sorry. So after the immutable swap, will OMI to NFT be like implemented immediately after, or still a few weeks after?
Still a few weeks after. The migration itself will take a little while. It's going to take us a while to get all the content out, make sure everybody knows what's going on, all of that kind of thing. Once we're across, then the devs need to work with the new contracts, I guess, and the new system to then build in the OMI to NFT. That's why it got pushed to behind the migration. We're at a point where we could spend the 6 or 8 weeks, whatever it was going to take to build it for GoChain, and then as soon as we migrated, we were going to have to rebuild it anyway. So Michael, our CTO, just said that was the better order of things. So it will still be a bit of a delay once the whole migration has taken place, but that'll be the next development on the list. And between then, I think we're going to try and add some other utilities to the token to at least get that velocity going. If they're smaller or easier developments, but don't quote me on that just yet. We'll find out a bit closer to.
Right on. And like I know you guys said you're testing out some other token utilities. Can you tell us what those are, and how far in the process are they?
I can't really reveal what they are just yet. I did mention some ideas in the Taps Trades AMA that I did last week, if anyone wants to go and review that. But we've talked about, just as an example, right? Don't pencil this in or quote me on it. But one idea I really like that Brock suggested, one of our community OGs, was, maybe you can burn some OMI to have your listing featured in the market. If you go to like any sort of online marketplace and you have the featured listings at the top, so people see them. So we could do cool things like that. I really like the model of
say you have frequent flyer miles for an airline, and you can bid a certain amount of miles for the chance to get an upgrade. And obviously, it's kind of like a silent auction style thing. I think that would be a really cool utility to say, all right, well, if you really want in on this drop, well, you can volunteer to burn X amount of OMI or something, and if you're in the top 50 or top 100 or whatever the amount is, then maybe you get access to that, a special allocation of that collectible. So they're just examples of extra utilities that we could sort of build into the platform. They're two that I would really like to see added. But if anyone has any ideas along that line as well, I mean, send them my way. I'm always open to those kind of things. But they're examples of utility outside of actually transacting with OMI with other users and buying collectibles that would obviously increase the burn rate from the circulating supply because they're tokens that people hold. And just another really fun way to interact on the platform.
How about,
appreciate it.
How about if there's like VIP places in the VeVeverse that you can't get into without certain NFTs?
Yeah, without certain NFTs, without a certain master collector level. Once that is implemented, we really have a lot more ways to reward users, to identify users, to create those more exclusive experiences. Obviously, to motivate people to want to rank up, right? You need to make sure the incentive mechanisms are strong enough for people to hold their collectibles, for people to want to participate in these community events. And same as everything we do, it will be an iterative process. We'll continue to build that system out as it becomes more robust and as the user base grows. But yeah, I can't wait for that to actually hit the platform. I mean, it's just going to change the game.
Yeah, man. Me personally, no pressure, but the Master Collector program is the most important thing to me as a collector. I want to know so bad.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I'll see. Like I mentioned, I'll see if we can kind of put out a more a less vague outline of what we're doing with it, because I know you guys are getting sick of hearing me say I can't reveal things every week.
Hashtags.
Hashtags always. Yeah. Sorry, mate. Go for it.
I do have one question after call me Facebook.
Yep. No worries.
So I have a question I wanted to ask. Would there be a possibility where we would have a feature in the app, specifically in the vaults, where someone, specifically like a user, can put an NFT that they don't own in their vault just for a few moments, just to see how it looks like in their vault, and like maybe it could help them figure out if it fits perfectly in their vault, and they might consider buying it. It's basically like entering a mode where an imagination vault, and then when they leave the vault, it goes back to normal.
Yeah, like a try before you buy type thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't know what it takes from a development standpoint. We've definitely talked about the possibility of leasing your collectibles to other people. So I guess if that's possible, I don't see why dropping one in your vault couldn't be, but I will find out from the people who actually build these things before I commit to that.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem. Do you have any more questions while you're up here?
No, I'm all right. Thank you.
No worries.
All right, so last question that I have for you guys. I'm trying to just keep it nice and sweet and simple. When you guys decide to roll out the games in the showroom, like whether it be pinball or Street Fighter or whatever the case may be, will it be a limited edition run similar to our normal drops, like 20,000 editions or 30,000 editions? And if so, is that how you guys see some income being made in the future in the VeVeverse or whatever the case may be? Like, let's say I have a game arcade with all of the games that you guys have released so far, and then I charge an entry fee.
That's a really good question. I mean, I know Trevor's probably more on the development side of what we will be looking to offer in showrooms like that. I guess it depends on the item, right? Like, to take your example as a pinball machine,
unless it's a branded pinball machine, I know they were a thing back in the day. I think it's more likely that you want to try and open those experiences to more people, and the benefit or the rarity might be like, if you play it 7 days in a row, you have access to some other kind of collectible or some other incentive in the platform, rather than the item itself having its own rarity. But I mean, this is a collectibles platform. Like, yeah, I don't see why that couldn't be a thing as well. Trevor, have you? I know there's probably things you can't reveal, but have you got any sort of insight on that front? I will take your silence as a no.
Catching Z's.
Yeah, it stepped away for a moment. Oh, that's good. I've got a community question for him when he comes back too. Claire, welcome to the stage.
Yeah. Well, my question was kind of for Trevor, but if he's gone missing, that's fine. But what it is sometimes I don't think Wales will be kind of the only place that experiences this, but you can go like to the top of the mountain and then find out that you've got no internet, and the HQ that you loaded to take the pictures you can't actually take anymore because you're stuck on a loading screen. Is there kind of a way in the future where if you download the collectible you can then use it in AR without the internet, or is that something that can't be done?
That is a very good question. I have a feeling the AR has something to do with your phone's location as well as the camera capabilities. Does anyone, Kay, have you got any software development insight on that front?
Yeah. I was actually going to ask that question on behalf of Claire. She's managed to do it. So basically the way it works is, as of now, so there's an API, and essentially it's linked to your user account, and when it pulls in your user account data, it looks at which collectibles are currently associated with your account. So in order for you to render an asset, you need to essentially have that collectible owned by your account, and there's no way for you to the app to check that if you're not connected to the internet, because you have to be connected to the internet to validate your account. So I was thinking about that, and there are a couple of ways. You would need a way to kind of cache your collectible history some way, so that you can access it offline. But obviously, I mean, there are platforms that currently do something like that, but every 24 hours, I think you have to re-authenticate yourself, because obviously it doesn't make sense for you to have sold your collectibles but still have them kind of cached for your own viewing. So every 24 hours it forces you to refresh it. So VeVe might have to implement something like that, where you log in and your collectible history is kind of cached for offline use, and then 24 hours later it forces you to log in again and then recheck which collectibles you have, which then allows you to access them offline. It would have to be some kind of caching system.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. I'm glad we have you here, because I would have mumbled my way through that. Does that answer your question, Claire? Or give you some more insight there?
At least you're honest about it.
Yeah.
It's just, I know sometimes I can load the character when I know I'm going into a bad sort of internet area, but if the app closes on you or does something, then you can't reload. But even if you just had access for 2 hours, it would help solve the problem.
Look, at least you get a good walk out of it, Claire, you know?
I have walked down the hill and considered going back up once, but thought no.
Yeah, that's it. It sounds like Trevor's back too, team. If anyone,
you guys can hear me.
Right. Yeah, we got you there, mate. I do have a community question for you, actually, young Trevor. Hang on one sec. And this is from our friend Orange Bag Lady, and she does have a question for you. So she's always asking folks, I'm going to read this in her words, always asking folks what they were into before VeVe came to life. So she wants to know, when you first started drawing, was it old school pencil and paper when you were a wee one,
or was it digital first? And what were the first things you sort of created or drew?
Me personally, I'm not a fine artist like that. To be honest, my background is in production. Actually, I started more in the design side of things. I guess more in the graphic design kind of stuff. So I would say digital because I was like, I learned like like the first like creative tools I ever really properly learned how to use were like Illustrator and Photoshop. So that's kind of where I came, how I came about it.
Perfect. And all right, in that same vein, in the digital space, or what were the first things you would design? Did you start as a lowly graphic designer? What's going on here?
Well, I wouldn't call graphic designers lowly, but yeah, I started with that. I guess like doing like logos, typography, that kind of stuff. I will say, and then game design stuff. I started with really the first like any sort of like programming or like visual, like applying code to create something visual on a screen. There's this amazing tool called processing that was developed by MIT. That's a really good way to learn how to code at a simple level and see the results like very in a fun visual way. That's kind of where I started. And then I pretty quickly started moving into Unity. Unity has obviously the strong like the programming element of it. That's what you need to build games. But there's also a lot of cool visual stuff in there. And as I played around with Unity, that's where I learned about a lot of the like more tech arty kind of stuff. I'm honestly more interested and excited by like technical art stuff than like fine art stuff, just because of like what I've been exposed to.
If that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Oh well, always good to get a little insight there. Thank you, Trev. We've got a few people on stage. CP or Pat? If CP, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I'll jump on. I just got a quick one. Well, first of all, definitely excited to be a part of Club VeVe. I see a couple people up here that also have the gem in the name, so we know that the gem is the new red circle. So that's pretty exciting.
Got it. You think you're better than us over there?
You gotta ask Noah that one.
That's fair.
My question would be, I know when somebody had brought up earlier about obviously you guys don't support any off-app activity for trading and escrow and things like that. It can seem kind of challenging sometimes. I know there's some folks on social media who'll tag VeVe or certain employees in different posts, and then on different posts kind of advocate for kind of that off-app trading. So I was wondering if there's anything you guys have in place to kind of steer away from that, just because obviously it doesn't kind of shed a good light and it kind of puts you guys in a bad spot if they take someone else's advice and maybe things don't work out for them. They kind of feel, like they got the short end of the stick. So I know it's kind of a tricky one to navigate because people can say whatever they want on social media, but just wondering if that's kind of come up at all for you guys.
Yeah, it is definitely tricky to navigate. People tag all of us, all of our accounts in every post they make all day long. And for the most part, we're trying to be, I mean, it comes down to our own awareness at the time as to, if we're going to retweet something or comment on something. So, I think we're all quite conscious of that and the flow-on effects of if we make a mistake, if we're tired, happen to retweet something that, is from an account that promotes something off the app or things like that. So, look, it's really a case by case. We try to tread very lightly when it comes to those things, and all maintain the fact that we don't support those kind of things off the app. So at the moment, it's more of a public awareness thing. And look, just so people understand, it's not that we're trying to it's for people's own protection more than anything, right? There's too many scams that take place out there. I see too many impersonation accounts, even of people in our community, on the app, off the app, on Facebook. I've seen entire Facebook profiles copied word for word, and they impersonate admins of escrow groups, you name it. I see it every week. So that advice is really it's the easiest way for us to try and look out for everybody all at once. It's up to you if you take it.
obviously we're trying to build in ways to completely remove that necessity or those risks, with the MTL and those things. But and we're close, right? We're really close to a lot of those developments. So it's up to you if you want to take that risk, but we can't support it in any capacity. And if you see anything that looks even slightly suggestive that we are, it's likely that we are tired and you caught us on a bad day.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, the community is doing a good job looking out for everybody, and just thank you for what you guys are doing. It's very exciting, and yeah, thanks for having me up.
No worries at all, and I'll second that wholeheartedly. I mean, big thanks to everybody in the community that helps make us aware of where there might be holes in the system or people trying to take advantage of other people. The more we work together on these things, the easier it is to cut them out. So we really appreciate it. Pat, you up here with a question?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, got you there, mate.
Hey, here is, hey guys. So anyways, my question was in regards to the OMI token. I know we're waiting very eagerly for the immutable X migration, and you guys have, and it's coming soon. We know that, but there's also like the OKX listing that just happened recently. So I was kind of curious. Once you guys mentioned that you're migrating to immutable X, I just assumed, and this is also something that I heard from a lot of YouTubers, that basically at this point it just meant that we were going to wait until the immutable migration was going to happen, and then the exchanges would come in afterwards. Now, so this OKX listing was kind of a surprise. So I was just wondering, could this mean that the immutable X is done? It just has not been announced, maybe, or
no, not quite. No, we've for the whole year, for as long as this has all kind of been going, we've been working towards new exchange listings. Now, the way that happens, I mean, obviously you go through all of the due diligence. They need all your records and financials, and you strike a deal, and then you go into the queue, and it's really a matter of wherever you are in that queue or whenever that listing is ready, that it goes live. So the immutable one was great. The OKX one, so good to have it here. Obviously, second largest exchange in the world on trading volume, so really big listing there. And if anything, and this isn't confirmation because I don't know, but typically when there's a migration like this, the exchanges will also help you facilitate it. So the ones I've been a part of in the past, like there will be a 3-day window, say, where they freeze any balances in the account, they do the migration for you, and then they reactivate it. Now, I don't know if OKX or Bit4X or these exchanges will participate in that yet, but hopefully they do, because it makes everybody's life easier if they're using the exchange. So no, the migration as of last week was, I think, 90% of the way through for the development side, is now undergoing heavy testing, which will take as long as it takes, but presumably a couple of weeks at least. And then we'll be pretty ready to move across. Now, I've said this a few times, and I'll keep sort of mentioning it to people. The one caveat to that is that Michael, our CTO, is about to have his first baby. So big shout out and congratulations, Michael. But that may throw a little delay in the works for a week or something as we navigate that. So it may have happened now, actually, or she's due in the next week or something like that. So just something to be aware of. Now, it's entirely possible that another exchange may hit before then. We're really not. It just depends where we are in that queue. And otherwise, as we've kind of mentioned and alluded to, it's much easier to acquire a listing when you're already ERC20, because you don't need to convince an exchange to implement an entirely new protocol or chain. So there'll be more post-migration too.
Okay, but basically, listing through the Go blockchain and then migrating to the immutable X1 via the exchanges is not that complicated. With right?
Correct. Yeah, especially, I mean, every exchange already has Ethereum, right? So really, when it comes to the token, we're redeploying our token contracts onto Ethereum, or deploying the new ones, however the system works. And because these chains already have
Ethereum running to add a new ERC20 token is actually not that difficult compared to adding an entirely new blockchain, which they need to do for GoChain.
Okay, got it. That clarifies it.
No problem.
Awesome. Thanks.
All good. Do you have anything else while you're up here?
No. This was my main. This was something I was a little bit curious about. Thanks for clarifying.
You're more than welcome. Blockchain Ricky, if you want to, or Rick, if you have a question there, mate. You may need to enable push to talk on your microphone if you haven't. It should just be in your settings there somewhere.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there you go.
Okay. Two-part question. The first is, have you guys explored the opportunity of working with universities as far as mascots?
We have.
And
just lost you there again, mate.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. This year's the first year they've implemented a new rule in college sports about it's called the NIL. Excuse me, I just got finished running, so I'm out of breath. But in a sense, it allows college athletes to receive endorsements. So, for example, the Alabama quarterback is set to make $1 million this year in endorsements. Master P's son, who's a college basketball player, is set to make $2 million. Would there ever be a situation where you guys would potentially partner up with a university or college athletes to create collectibles for them?
Yeah, there's definitely some potential there for sure. I was made aware of that new ruling a few months ago. I think it's pretty exciting for college sports, college athletes to be able to access that kind of funding. It's definitely been part of our conversation.
All right, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. Wild Hair, I think you have a few questions for Trevor, and I might bring a few more up from the audience, and we'll probably go for another 15-20 minutes, guys, if that's all right. It is a Friday afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Hello, guys. First, I have one question for Trevor. Actually, it's another question. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yep, we've got you there.
Okay. When I add Necronomicon in my vault, it starts acting weird, and I don't know how to explain. Is that a bug or a glitch? It turns around and crawls on the floor and climbing walls of vault. Then all other Cthulhu statues staring at me. I can clearly hear those creepy whispers like a key, Trevor, open. So when an exclusive key NFT for set owners or something.
Trevor, you making any keys over there, mate?
It sounds like he's got the one-of-one cursed Necronomicon. Somehow we shipped that and they let it go through.
That's pretty funny. I'd love to see if that opens one day, but we'll leave that for now. What else you got?
Okay, and then I have one question about it. Actually, this is not a question just come up. Earlier, the guy gave an idea about fake bidders. If they won't pay, second bidder should get a chance to get it. However, that can cause fake bidders partnered with second bidder for steal the item for auction. So is there a possibility to add a reserve price setting for auctions also before that kind of features?
Yeah. I think something like that would be a much more effective system. And definitely, it's. I know we've all kind of been here together for quite a few months now, but we're still in the pretty early stages of the functionality of VeVe, the auctions included, right? So we've made very necessary upgrades to some of those processes and capture and all of those kind of things. I guess they were always in the plans, but we definitely had to rush them to implement them for everybody's sake. And now we can start to really roll out more functionality, right? I mean, we're still waiting on blank showrooms, and showroom version 2, right? Which will hit version 2 will hit before the blank showrooms. Auction features like a reserve price, being able to directly trade with other users instead of having to list in the market, reducing the auction time from 72 hours to 24, or giving you the freedom to choose between the amount of time you'd like your item to be available. So yeah, all of those features will
will absolutely continue to build out. It's just a matter of the development pipeline at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Orion, welcome, and then subscribe, Bishes. Maybe we'll hit you next. Can't hear you there, mate. If you need to adjust the mic. Subscribe, you up here, and we'll come back to you, Orion VeVe. May just need to, in your Discord settings, I think this chat room might be set to push to talk, so you may need to enable a hotkey to be able to talk. No one else can hear anyone talking, right? It's not just me.
I had a question.
Yep, go for it, Shadow. Looks like we got you.
Oh yeah, sweet. I was here at the beginning, but I just had some more questions. So where is it at? I'm pulling up my list here. Yeah. So, is there any what are when it comes to secret rares? What are y'all's kind of like I guess rules for it? Like I know like we had the I think someone said I wasn't around during the first secret rare, but someone said that like the first secret rare was like because of an accident, and then the second secret rare was like the rabbit drop, and then the third secret rare I think was for rarity. Is there any kind of like rhyme and reason, or is it kind of like all the secret rare is just going to kind of be like a mystery type of how it drops?
Yeah, the general idea is that it's a mystery of some sort. The very first one was the Ghostbusters Toy Tokyo. I think that was the first one in the order. And that just happened to appear when the rest of the drop appeared. There was no chatter about it. There was no clock gate or anything at the time, so nobody sort of knew about anything ahead of time. The secret rare 2D comic cover art, the Ultraman one, was for people that were affected by a bug in that drop. Pretty sure it was that same one. So there was a bug that oversold the drop from memory or something like that. It was sort of in the really early stages when the load on the app was way more than we had anticipated. So that one was given out to affected users as a bit of a recompense from us, and a sorry and a thank you. Yeah, so but as to the other ones, I mean, the lucky one, that was just a complete surprise. I guess for most people, or it was available sort of 15 minutes before. But the idea is that those are either obtained outside of the system or dropped as a bit of a secret. Now I know we dropped a secret rare Spider-Man one, and everyone knew about it. But that one was just kind of I think to add to that collectability on that front. Alex, do you have anything to say on the secret rares moving forward?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I think they'll continue to be fluid. It really, at the end of the day, the secret rare is just the most rare. It's secret may be a misnomer in some instances. Obviously, we had a secret rare available with the rest of the drops, rest of the rarities for Spider-Man, for instance. I anticipate that being the case for drops of that caliber for Marvel moving forward or for other IP. But there will still be instances where it is an actual secret, Toy Tokyo or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, don't get tripped up on the word secret, because it's not an indicator of how it should be released. It's more of that it is the most rare.
Yeah. Well, I had one more question, and this one's for Trevor, but I just want to say with the secret rare, although I did not get a lucky secret rare, I do feel like that was the most like fair, like, it was just like I just literally woke up and everybody's talking about a golden rabbit, and I'm like, what? Like, so that was cool, even though it sucked I didn't get it. But then, when the Spider-Man came out, then I was like confused. I was like, wait, hold up. Maybe I was confused, but that's cool. Now for Trevor, is he here?
Yeah.
Okay. You posted something on your Twitter a while back. I think it was a couple of days ago, actually. And I think it was a retweet of someone else's. And I just want to say that I thought it was an awesome idea. With VeVe and having like even static NFTs and animated NFTs and coming from League of Legends and things like that too, I actually really love the idea of the auto battler. Because I just think of like, you can have like, a board, the VeVe board or something, and you're playing against a friend and you have like all black and white series like Batman and they all do certain cool stuff and you can play against, I don't know, like someone else has different types of NFTs and it's kind of like a chess game. I don't know. Or I guess my question is, since you posted that, do you think that could be something we can see in the future, or do you think that's too like of a massive kind of like project?
That's an interesting question. So I thought a little bit about that without going too much into, and I really, when I'm talking about this, I want to make it clear I'm not making any promises of us building this. I'm just talking about it. The reason I like the auto battler as a concept for NFTs is with the 3D assets that we have, it fits that genre. The 3D assets, with a lot of them, have fairly minimal like animation related into them. So from a content perspective, it's not the heaviest lift effectively to deliver like making those work in that auto battler thing. It's more a question of, can you build that system and build that gameplay system, which is not a trivial thing to do. They're a very complicated game to build. They're an extremely complicated game to balance. They're effectively like balancing a trading card game or anything else. Even Riot Games, which has, at that studio, there's 3,000 people work there. It took a team of 150 people 6 months to build their version of TFT, and that was working with all those 3D assets that they already have. So it's not a trivial game to build. Is it simpler than an MMO? Much, but it's still a really complicated game. It's something that I think would be pretty cool to see and would work. It wouldn't feel to me too contrived and like abstracted from the overall NFT collecting kind of experience. So I think that's kind of why I like was musing about it, and it's kind of cool hearing everybody's like thoughts about it. And I'm happy to ramble about it more with anybody if they want.
Yeah, because like when I see like VeVe 10 years from now, like, I see it being like the #1 NFT platform and all these like other great things. And, hopefully by that point in time, like AR is like a, more common thing and that's more accessible to people. And like, I guess my perfect future, like VeVe, its current collectibles and maybe future gamification would be like having AR glasses on and like sitting across, the kitchen table with my brother and we're playing auto battler, on the table with our VeVe NFT collectibles. I know, that's far, far down the line, but I just thought that was a cool idea. That was it.
As far as game pitches go using NFTs, it's actually like one of the more reasonable ones I've heard, to be honest. Like everybody was like, when Ready Player One, that is really, 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 really complicated to build. But an auto battler in AR is notably simpler. Still complicated, but it's a lot simpler.
All right, sweet. Thanks, man.
Perfect. Now, yep, subscribe bishes. You're back up here. Is your mic working now? Still haven't got you coming through. I don't know why, to be honest. But maybe if you want to drop a question in the voice chat discussion, if we can't get it working before the end, we can try to get to it. And Orion, VeVe, you're back up here. If you've got a question, you want to jump in there.
Hello.
Oh, there's a voice. Who do we get?
Okay. Hey, I'm calling from the UK, so it's quite late. Hopefully you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we've got you, mate.
Oh, cool. Just whispering so I don't wake up the family. So the first thing I wanted to ask was basically sorry. I had my stuff noted down, so I'm trying to remember, but I have to push the talk. Basically I wanted to ask well actually, you know, you're talking about gaming, and I was wondering, do you guys see yourselves becoming more like PlayStation? You know, because when I think about gaming, I think it takes a lot of manpower to create games, and obviously Sony, they kind of just own game studios. So do you guys see yourself maybe starting out with really simple games that generate revenue and then scaling up to maybe owning studios that produce games in the metaverse?
That's it's a great question. I mean, I guess the concept is kind of similar, right? Like VeVe is a platform the same way that the PlayStation console would be a platform, and then you have all this functionality or optionality on top of it. I don't think that moving that heavily into the gaming arena is really part of the directive at this point. You know, we're definitely more focused on creating this collectibles experience, with gaming to supplement that experience as opposed to become the primary focal point. But I mean, 10 years in the future, 15, I mean, who knows, right? Like, if we really have access to this IP and can build experiences around it in any sort of capacity like that, I mean, you know, we are a technology company, and I think we'll continue to build to and adopt to those kind of technologies, especially if that's what's going to create the best user experience. You know, I don't know that we'll rival. Yeah, I don't know that we'll rival PlayStation or Sony on that front or anything, but who knows?
It's
Yeah.
also worth noting, like, the platforms exist to serve content developers, but like PlayStation, like that thing, that's like the biggest, most. I mean, it's such a huge brand, but it's one of the biggest, most extreme versions of how you can build a platform. I think there's potentially, so people aren't here waiting a decade, decade and a half for that kind of thing. There are things that might be nearer on the horizon that we could do to support developers in that sense. Again, not making promises here, but it's like there are ways that we could support people because there is a platform here, this content exists. There's like the interoperability implies it's connected to other things as well. When that happens, like there are steps we could take towards supporting people who want to create content related to the stuff that exists in VeVe.
Oh, for
That
sure.
is
You
like
know,
the
like
first steps towards that. But yeah, I think realistically, like Sony, to give you an idea how big PlayStation is, there's well over 10,000 people who work on PlayStation games and like the platform, and it's a truly a multi-billion-dollar exercise to support that platform every year. Like, and they've been doing it for 25, 30 years, and it's not just them, it's Microsoft and Nintendo, and then all the software platforms out there as well, like Steam. So to really break into that space, it's about finding the thing that's going to get developers exciting about coming to us and offering them something of value. And obviously having a big, deeply engaged community is a big thing that would drive that. So everybody keep doing that.
yeah, that's really exciting. And to be honest, it was.
Well, you got to push that button, man.
Oh, sorry, I think I didn't hit the button, but I was just saying, I think it's really exciting to think about VeVe as a platform that can attract developers. Like, you know, we're talking about getting Street Fighter characters. Well, what if VeVe was a big enough platform that Capcom wanted to develop their game in the VeVeverse? That would be sick, you know?
Agreed. I actually think that that's what we'll see more of. You know, like if it's in the VeVeverse or that kind of thing. I mean, you're offering branded content, but I mean, who better than the brands themselves to design and create that stuff? Who have the resources and the teams and you know the backlog of that kind of content already. Yeah,
for sure.
I'd love to see it go that way.
Yeah, us building a Street Fighter game would be cool, but it would never be as good as Capcom building a Street Fighter game that ties into VeVe. So I'd rather support that version, which is also probably a lighter lift for us, to be honest. and it would lead to a better product overall, I think.
Oh my god, like I'm a marketer by the way, so like I love thinking about the future and what's coming and stuff like that, and just this conversation getting me so excited because
Suspense is killing me. We got because.
right?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I think I keep not hitting the press to talk. Sorry. Yeah, it's just really exciting to hear that. Basically, was what I was saying. The more nearer term question that I wanted to ask was this fee that's coming in for the Marvel, for the Marvel brand. Is that I kind of see it as a good thing because, you know, it's getting brands a taste of that recurring fee, right? And so it's getting them open to the idea of like releasing their IP into the wider world. Would you say that's accurate?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest draw cards of this industry of NFTs, of assets existing on smart contracts, is that ability to create a perpetual royalty, right? Which these manufacturers have never had before, because when you're selling physical pieces, the secondary market is a secondary market, right? They don't have a stake in it or a say in it or that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's going to be one of the fundamental things that pushes the licensing aspect of this industry forward. And as Frank Kozik mentioned a couple of weeks ago, you know, this really is the first opportunity. We have the opportunity to treat artists the way that they should be treated, right? To give those, like Marvel has a lot of money, right? They're a huge company, they're doing fine, right? But for your lesser known artists or those with lesser reach, like to be able to provide people like that an opportunity to, you know, clip an ongoing ticket from these kind of things. I mean, I think that's a great step forward for everybody in the creative field, in the creative industry. And yeah, I expect it to motivate more licensors to enter the space.
For sure. I mean, just being in the Discord for a while, I keep telling people like there's a lot of fear and I don't want to say FUD because it's a little bit warranted, but there's a little bit of fear slash FUD about, oh, this brand is
Lost you again, man.
sorry. Yeah, they say like, oh, they're not gonna let us take our collectible off app, and I say to them, it's a one-way street technology, you know. Even social media, tons of brands were like, oh, we don't need that, we're not gonna have that, but eventually everything go on social media, and it's gonna be the same way with NFTs. Maybe Marvel doesn't let us have the app, the NFT off app initially, but eventually they will. Is how I see it.
That's exactly how we see it too, right? I think the whole industry continues to move that way. Now, where those assets can be sent also depends on the contracts that are underpinning them. You know, Immutable has already announced that they will partner, or sorry, OpenSea will support Immutable's contracts and protocols, which is great for us. I really think that Immutable is going to be a powerhouse in as a protocol for NFTs, and looks to be one of the most interoperable that will be available. So all of those things fed into our decision to move to them as well. And yeah, you know, like if I get it, not all of these assets are going to be available to send off app day one, you know, and that will continue to be a progressive journey based on a whole range of things. But yeah, longer term, if that same royalty is available to them regardless of the platform, then it really becomes a brand awareness thing for these licensors as well, right? If their content is now available on multiple platforms, and it's still benefiting everybody involved, then why wouldn't you make that choice? You know, and so I agree with you. I think that's where we're going.
For sure. I mean, yeah, if DC is if Marvel is making a ton of money from having the collectibles out there and getting that recurring fee, DC is not gonna sit back and be like, yo, oh, we're gonna let them do it and we're not gonna do it, you know? It doesn't make sense.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So my last question was just about when we do have that initial move to to OpenSea and being more open, whether that's Marvel or the artists. How do you see VeVe NFTs comparing, contrasting, and competing with the NFTs that are out there? Because a lot of the stuff out there is one of ones. It's generative projects, which is still high mint, but it's still got a bit more unique, versus VeVe collectibles that are let's say the same thing technically, apart from the mint number, but same model. So how do you see these things comparing? And I also noticed that you guys call your stuff digital collectibles. So was that shift in mentality from calling it an NFT to collectible? Because I believe everything will be an NFT and it will be kind of commonplace. So maybe I'm giving you guys too much credit, or maybe I'm spot on, but I'm thinking that you guys are thinking like 3 steps ahead and calling it premium collectible now, because you know in a few years, you know, NFT is going to be a commonplace. It's going to be like saying you have a photo online. It's like you can copy and paste.
Yeah. So I'll answer the second bit first. We always lent into digital collectibles because for the longest time, no one had any idea what an NFT was. So at least digital collectibles gave us some sort of grounding to explain that, right? Like in the last 6 months, NFTs have blown up and people use that acronym more synonymously with the industry now. But we never sort of foresaw that hitting and being so successful. And even now, if you try to explain to someone like, what's an NFT? So, well, a non-fungible token. And then you've got to go on this rabbit hole of a journey to explain how you can have a digital asset and it's unique and, all the bits. So we lent into that more from a ease of understanding, ease of use point of view. And I really think that digital collectibles will be, that term, even though it's used interchangeably with NFT, I think that will continue to be a much easier point of entrance to explain this to people than diving into the technical side of an NFT. So that's kind of where that came from. From an SEO point of view, I think we rank quite well for it as well. It's kind of good to nab those catchwords early, which we've been writing to now for 3 or 4 years, or I have. So there was definitely some motivation there as well, just to kind of claim those early rankings more than anything.
Oh, nice. Yeah, certainly a simpler explanation.
Yeah. I mean, like longer term, I do think digital collectible will be the term. Especially amongst collectors or whatever. But either way, we do use them interchangeably now, and try to claim both of those. Now, back to your original question about when things do open up, how do our collectibles compare? Personally, I think they shit all over everything else that's available. That is obviously my opinion, but the difference between what we offer and
I love it.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a little confident there, but the differences between what we offer and what is available on OpenSea or that user-generated content, even though our model might be the same and the edition numbers grow, or that's the differentiator. It's because our products come with an established fan base. So the desire to own these items already exists, and we've obviously maintained that scarcity and rarity in light of the edition number being the differentiator. And we're really the only people doing it. There aren't many or any licensed collectibles on OpenSea, or not in the same capacity that we're kind of producing them. So, I really think that will continue to set us apart. You've got characters and collectibles that have value in the physical world already, and you're taking that and moving it to a medium that is new. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to create a new fan base or audience around new content. We're bringing content that people already know and love and already has an innate value to those people. So really, I expect them to continue to dominate and be successful on that front. But just to add to that, we are releasing one-of-ones. There will be more exclusive content than what's currently available. All of those things will also be a feature of VeVe. So I guess when we enable interoperability there, they may perform differently too, based purely on a scarcity sort of level. But fundamentally, I just believe we're producing the best assets every week. The things we're putting out are leveling up. The animations are getting better. The technology is getting better. Like it's, yeah, I think, once all this has taken place, we'll continue to rise to the top.
Wow, I think you blew a lot of people's minds with that one-of-one reveal. If you haven't said that already, certainly blew my mind. And I hope you're ready, Rhys, for the YouTube videos tomorrow, because you're gonna see a lot of titles. VeVe shits on every NFT project. So I hope you're ready, man. Just last thing I wanted to say, thank you. My name's actually the homie DJ on YouTube.
Nice.
And so I just put my call to action at the beginning, but maybe that's confusing. But thanks for your time.
No worries. No worries at all. And yeah, fam, go check it out. I hope. Are you putting out some tracks for us? What do you got, mate? What do you got going?
Nah, so I just started my OMI YouTube channel like a week ago. Just trying to figure out a consistent schedule to put out content around my job. But at the moment, I got 2 videos out, and hopefully going to uploading daily. So
yeah. Man. Welcome to the family. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing some of your content too.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No
Peace.
worries. See you, mate. Deadpoo or Austin? What, we got both of you guys up here? Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Go for it.
All right. Hey, Rhys. So I just wanted to say I appreciate everything you guys done. I'm a huge fan of VeVe and OMI. Been here since March. So yeah, that leads me to my next question. For first-time comers, the onboarding process. I was talking to Johnny Dunn, and the idea came about was that when you get on VeVe, it'd be nice to have like a free NFT that could be like, let's say, a badge for season 1 or season 2 or season 3. It kind of tells you, okay, I'm a season 1 OMI holder or VeVe collector, and I think that would give you a brand and name, and also it'll allow you to play in VR and AR with the NFT to try it out.
Agreed. Yeah. We've definitely had discussions about this, and creating anything that's sort of non-licensed, whether it's even like a VeVe logos or the red OMI circle, things that people can play with, but also offer similar products or whatever that people can use as that sort of identifier or badge. Yeah, it's that kind of thing's definitely in the works. Even Brock, again, the man's full of ideas, but suggested a little while ago, for like seasonal celebrations. So say we're approaching Christmas and there's like the very first VeVe Christmas NFT that anyone who's using the platform at the time receives. It's non-transferable, so it's just something you keep in your showroom, but you truly can only own that item if you were around for the first ever VeVe Christmas celebration or something like that, and then we might release a different one the following year. So you can sort of stack them up and show when you arrived. So yeah, those all of those things are definitely in discussion.
Right. I just want to make sure like a new user goes onto the app and like has something to play with, right? Because sometimes like things will be too much to pay, or they just don't have money at the time, or they're iffy about it.
Yeah, and I guess I think the stress of that will continue to be alleviated when more consistent drops are hitting, more drops in the tier of like the Mighty's blind boxes, things like that, where they may not sell out straight away, and there's things within a price point that people would probably be willing to look at as well. But yeah, we're definitely in talks trying to just give people a way to check out the experience without having to make that sort of commitment as well.
Awesome. Thanks, man. That was my question.
No problem at all. Deadpoo, well, you're up here. We might wrap it up not long after.
Yeah, hey, how you going?
Good, mate.
I guess I'll just start off here. Thanks for everything. I guess the main change that's happened is toilet breaks at work have gone from 10 minutes to about an hour now.
The best break.
That's it, pretty much. I've apparently got just some bowel problems now at the moment. So I was just going to say, is there going to be some more improvements just around the whole social aspect of the app? I was wondering if, like, particularly in AR, there's like so much potential there, and whether or not there'll be like some kind of interaction with Google Maps, and that's how the secret rare could potentially be released.
Yeah, absolutely. So probably two different things there, or maybe they tie in. Yeah, we love that sort of the potential for virality of a location-based event. And VeVe has been built with geocaching. Well, I don't know what the term is, but basically it enables us to do location-based events. So whether that is at a physical Comic-Con event, for example, and you have to attend, it will register that you're within the building and you'll have access to exclusive collectibles, or we can drive business to a certain location or drive people to a location. Like maybe we do an exclusive Toy Tokyo release in the Toy Tokyo store. So things like that are definitely have a lot of potentiality and have been part of the thinking for quite a while. I love the idea, and this will be down the line, but maybe we end up with a augmented reality overlay of the VeVeverse as to where you are. So we might put on an event in a park, for example, and we can set that up so that everybody can see and interact with things in AR, but we probably just look like a bunch of crazy people walking around a park to anybody else. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of option and opportunity there, and we'll definitely be building towards them for sure.
Beautiful, thanks for that. I think it was just answered before, but I may have missed it. But just in relation to any kind of content creators or artists that use the collectibles, potentially as like a prop or anything. So is that allowed to be made or monetized on YouTube or through OpenSea as a particular project or anything? Like if VeVe approves it, like that's okay. But to me, for the licenses like Marvel and things, it doesn't seem like they'll be down on that.
Correct. Yeah, I think it's actually in the terms and conditions, but there are restrictions on how you can use their IP outside of the app. So we have the license to create this content and make it available in the way that we do. I'm pretty sure there's restrictions on you being able to then take those images and profit on them elsewhere, because it's like a copyright infringement.
Okay. And just this is the best community I've ever been a part of, and I think everyone agrees as well. I was just wondering what kind of plans do you have beyond the competition to have more people involved, maybe in the short term? And I'm totally down for a FA Santa Claus.
Perfect. I'll see if we can contact the North Pole for the license. At the moment, and I hate to say things are running themselves because that's not the case, but like everybody has found the most beautiful motivation to be a part of this community, and to see everybody supporting and uplifting each other, welcoming new people, encouraging new content creators. I mean, it's truly everything you hope for when you try to build something like this. So look, in the immediate short term, we're going to keep supporting these things. Obviously, I love to get involved in people's streams, keep running these promotions and quizzes and giveaways and things like that. The ambassador program is another way to work closely with some of those content creators, and that will flesh out as we move forward too. But I think right now most people are pretty happy being plugged in and having access to us and access to the resources that we put out. Do you think that's a fair assumption?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been absolutely magnificent. So thanks for answering my questions. I'm going back to the toilet now.
No worries, mate. Good luck to you. Just on that note, guys, there is a big YouTube quiz taking place. I think it'll be towards the end of the month. A lot of the YouTube fam will be doing it. It's I guess a bit of a VeVe Ecomi trivia. But as an audience member, you can participate in that as well, and we'll be giving out some collectible prizes and things. So keep an eye on our socials for a bit more info on that. I'm sure everybody will push it out on the YouTube channels too. But just another really fun way to get involved with that.
I'm gonna send you some of the demo questions. I think they'll probably make you laugh.
Looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to it. I will happily vet them. But yeah, Kay, you'll put out more info about that, I assume, when we have a date set.
Yeah. Should be like you said towards the end of the month. should have the full quiz done probably next week, so I can go through them with the other guys and yourself as well. I'll make sure to add a bonus when Pokemon at the end.
Yeah, that's fine. For anyone who missed that, the AMA we did last week on the Millennial stream with Taps, Daniel Lee, Wannabe Champ, and Kay, that is also available on Kay's YouTube channel. Probably a few questions we didn't cover today, and a little bit more info on that quiz if you want to check that out. But for now, friends, we might wrap it up. Does anyone on stage have anything else they need answered or would like to mention?
I just have a small, tiny question.
Mm-hmm.
Is the marketplace going to be open tomorrow during the drop, or is it going to be temporarily, paused for the drop?
We temporarily pause them for every drop now, and they come back on when the load sort of comes back down. So we won't, Alex, you might need to correct me here, but as far as I'm aware, there's no 24-hour shutdown like last week. It'll be like a normal drop, I think.
That is correct. Standard downtime.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Well, appreciate you guys.
No worries at all. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Trevor, who had to dip out there, Alex, Noah, Kay, everyone for showing up. Really appreciate your time, guys, and good luck tomorrow with the Mighties. I like the idea of a blind box. I think it's really exciting to roll out a new way to collect on the platform. And I look forward to that experience becoming a bit more robust as we move forward too. But yeah, can't wait to see all your pictures and be sure to tag us, Marvel X VeVe. That's what we're running still, Alex. Is that right?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great weekend, and we'll all reconvene next week.
Hey, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks for being here, mods, too. Appreciate it, guys. Catch you all later.
Heyo. So that was it, man. That's the stream. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys had a good time. Crypto Crowns, I'm just not getting your question. I think it is you free to roam, schedule outside the vault, disable. I think that we already asked that one. Oh yeah, we asked that one. Let's see, we'll be okay. All right, guys. Well, maybe next time we will get to a lot of those other questions as well. So that's all I got for tonight, gentlemen. That was kind of a lengthy stream, and hopefully, you got all your questions answered. Wind Moon. All right. So when drivable DeLorean still? I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. We still need to keep asking that question. Totally joking, by the way, but yeah, that's all I got. I'll be streaming tomorrow, obviously with Trevor. So make sure you guys circle back around tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Me and Trevor will be streaming Call of Duty, some Warzone. So we'll be doing we'll be in it. All right. So we'll be shooting at folks tomorrow in Call of Duty. Energy. Heck yeah. What's up, bro? James White, Split Sniper 7. Thanks for the streaming, Kyle. Yo, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. So like I said, tune in tomorrow. I also have a special interview. Crypto Crowns, if you're still here, you're gonna like this one a little bit. I interviewed Jason Capel from 137, so be on the lookout for that special content. If you don't know what 137 is, if you haven't seen Crypto Crowns' videos, you need to go check them out. Where he talks about 137, kind of the history behind it, how they covered VeVe like way back in the day. When I say way back in the day, I mean like earlier this year, which seems like forever. So anyways, like that's one of Gary V's like basically companies, his media companies. They do a fantastic job on their platform and pumping out. They do a lot of content. So I'm excited to put that video out and be on the lookout for that. So just a little teaser for those of you guys that are tuned in right now. But that's all I got, man. Peace, love, VeVe. Be like an NFT. Be authentic. Says, did you ask a question or not? You missed it, man. You missed it. By the way, so what Trevor said is that's basically gonna be disabled where you can fly around in the sky. But he says they have something special for people that like to build outside of the vault. like what we've seen like on Twitter, like where all the viral like showrooms and things like that, and giant sizable characters. Trevor did answer that, and I think that was kind of early on in the stream. So maybe I can do some. Maybe you guys can help me put together some timestamps. I'm glad you got the interview. You deserve it, my guy. Yeah, appreciate it, man. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you too, man, for tuning in. And yeah, man. So, anyways, that's all I got, man. I'm all out of words. I'll be excited to be on that stream tomorrow with Trevor, and we can ask more questions. If you want to tune into that, I'll be more than happy to answer or ask some questions to Trevor. So be sure to be here in the chat tomorrow. Think of some questions that we can ask Trevor, and things like that, like the showroom, a question like Crypto Crowns asked. So, but that's all I got, guys. Have a fantastic night or morning, depending on what part of the world you're in. And like I said, peace, love, VeVe.